Just a quick brief before we get started with the show. Because the show is coming out on May 29th, that's when we release it normally as Monday mornings. Today is Memorial Day, so happy Memorial Day to everybody, and just a quick brief history on what Memorial Day is. So I'm certain that everyone listening probably is well aware Memorial Day is a federal holiday in the United States, and it's honoring and mourning the U.S. military personnel who died while serving in the armed forces. It is observed as the last Monday in May, but from 1868 to 1970, it was actually observed on May 30th. Now, many people visit cemeteries and memorials on Memorial Day to honor and mourn those who died while serving in the U.S. military. Many volunteers actually place flags on the graves of military personnel in national cemeteries. Memorial Day is also considered the unofficial beginning of the summer here in the United States. Now, the first national observance of Memorial Day occurred on May 30th, 1868. This was known as Decoration Day, the holiday proclaimed by Commander-in-Chief John A. Logan of the Grand Army of the Republic to honor the United States Union soldiers who died in the Civil War. This national observance was preceded by many local ones between the end of the Civil War and Logan's declaration. Many cities and people have claimed to be the first to observe it. However, in 2022, the National Cemetery Administration, which is a division of the Department of Veteran Affairs, credited Mary Ann Williams with originating the idea of strewing the graves of Civil War soldiers, Union and Confederate, with flowers. Official recognition of the holiday spread among the states, beginning with New York in 1873, and then by 1890, every Union state had adopted it. The World Wars turned it into a day of remembrance for all members of the U.S. military who fought and died in service. In 1971, Congress standardized the holiday as a Memorial Day and changed its observance to the last Monday in May. Here in the United States, 2 other days celebrate those who have served and who are serving in the U.S. military. Armed Forces Day, which actually was just a little bit earlier, a couple weeks ago. And it's basically an unofficial U.S. holiday for honoring those currently serving in the armed forces. And, of course, Veterans Day, which honors all of those who have served in the United States Armed Forces. The All About Nothing podcast may have content and language that isn't appropriate for some. Listener discretion is advised. With Zac King, Trent Clark, and Barrett Gruber, this is the All About Nothing podcast. All right, welcome to the All About Nothing podcast. This is episode number 157. I'm Barrett Gruber, joined by Zac King, who is sitting either to my right or to my left. I guess it depends on how I do the video editing. It's really how that works.
One of the two.
Welcome, Zac.
Thanks. Glad to be here on a cold, wet Saturday.
Yeah, it is cold, wet. I had to go out this morning because one of our partner podcast people, me and her family, are out of town, so I had to run up to her house to go take care of her dog, Allie. And that dog
had to put it down.
But that dog, and she will tell us all the time that is it's a wonderful dog, very well behaved, whatever. That dog hates me. I don't know what it is. That dog absolutely, as soon as I came in the door this morning, that dog was barking and jumping on me. It's not a I don't enjoy visiting with that dog. It's hate. It's the only word I can think of to describe it, is that dog hates me. Yeah. Well, that's it.
Today I've just been taking care of my daughter until she took a nap finally.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a cold Saturday, but we're recording on a Saturday because we didn't record on Wednesday. So this episode is just a little different, as we're not recording in the studio. I'm at home, Zac's at home, and Trent is at the All-Star Drag Brunch at the venue on Main Street in Columbia. So he's not here with us, which means he can't defend himself.
What were we doing on Wednesday?
Well, I guess I'll just start it off. We were at the Coheed and Cambria and Incubus concert at the Township Auditorium on Wednesday. So I'll let Zac describe what it was, because I'm not going to describe it nearly as excited as Zac, but I did get to see him and Gabrielle in there, most excited.
Yes.
So please take it away, Zac.
Look, Coheed was fantastic. They opened up first because it's like basically a co-headlining show. I think Incubus probably played a little bit longer, and we'll get into not knowing why in a minute. But Coheed kicked ass as usual. Like, they had a good set. Did you like it for being a band that you don't know a whole lot about?
before we get into my opinion of it, I'd like for you to go through and describe everything. So but it was good. But I'll give you. I have to do a breakdown of what I experienced during the events of the night.
A
Uh,
lot of fists in the air, a lot of singing along, yelling, uh, awesome light shows. But then he plays the double neck guitar again for Welcome Home, and he played it behind his head like that. I've only seen him do that maybe 3 times total, so
yeah,
it's awesome every
yeah.
time you do see it. And then I mean, they basically played a lot of the hits that they have. And it's the first time I saw him play the keyboard for one of the songs off his new album. That was really cool.
Oh yeah, yeah. He did do that.
And
We got a little bit of a Tina Turner tribute because, of course, as people know by now, Tina Turner passed away
mhm.
on Wednesday. I believe it was on Wednesday she passed away, and played what did it wasn't Proud Mary. They played well, crap. Now I can't remember what song, but they did a tribute to Tina Turner by playing a cover.
Mhm.
So that was pretty cool.
The what was it? The only thing I've seen like I've seen enough shows. This is me and Gabrielle's me and Gabrielle's fifth show seeing Coheed.
Yeah.
Um, I saw them the first time I saw them play. I saw the lead singer Claudio sing without a guitar, which never happens. He only had a microphone. And then the last time they were in Columbia, which was 4 years ago,
Yeah.
he sang without a microphone on purpose or without a guitar on purpose. So that was pretty cool.
You make it sound like there's the potential that there would have been not on purpose where he just forgot it or
Well, the
that.
first time I saw it, it was because the sound techs were messing up at Warp Tour. They messed up his
Oh,
guitar, and he eventually was pissed, and he handed it off to them, and he's like,
goo.
"Fix it. I'll just sing it
Yeah.
without it." Yeah, sorry, I should have prefaced that. There was an issue the first time I saw it, and then he did it on purpose the 4 years ago. But it was an awesome show.
Yeah.
Incubus wasn't great. Couldn't understand what they were saying. He was singing half the time, and then
Yeah.
randomly played a Beatles slash Aerosmith cover. Come
Yeah.
together.
Do you think that do you think that Incubus was doing the Beatles version or the Aerosmith version? I feel like it was probably more the Aerosmith version just because I don't know. I guess it could have gone either way, but
Well, and
it's a Beatles
the
song. Come
irony
Together
is
is a Beatles
that I
song.
had told you beforehand. I was like, he kind of looks like Steven Tyler.
Yeah. Yeah, of course I said Keith Richards, which would have aged him about 30 years further out, but
Yeah.
yeah.
And then they play what I'm just going to go ahead and say was an Aerosmith cover at the end of the
An
day.
Aerosmith cover of a Beatles cover.
Yeah.
Yeah,
At the end
that's
of the
fair.
day, a cover of a cover.
Yeah, no, I admittedly I didn't think Incubus's show in Columbia was that good, and so if you're done describing your experience, then I will. So as many listeners know, I have developed over the last two years, probably 3 years, what I can only describe as what feels like a severe case of social anxiety.
Hmm.
So going to a concert, a completely sold out concert, completely packed. I mean, I don't know how many tickets were available for this show, but there were so many people on the floor, and it was basically shoulder to shoulder all the way to the back of the ground of the bottom of the stage. Um, and and while I wanted Zach and Trent and Gabriella to enjoy the concert as much as possible, and you guys not worry about me whatsoever, I medicated myself for it, and for the most part, I was gripping the wall the entire time
Yeah.
because that was where I felt safe. Because then I knew there wasn't anybody behind me, and and it got warm. The room definitely got warm. Um, I would say some of the things that I remember most because now you being a Coheed and Cambria fan, you know all the words to a lot of these songs that were played.
Oh yeah.
Um, from my perspective, I didn't understand a single word that was being sang.
Oh really?
And yeah, same with Incubus. I knew a lot of those Incubus songs, but until I actually heard like the actual music in the chorus of
Hmm.
those songs, I didn't know what songs they were singing.
That's probably why I didn't like Incubus as much because they were playing songs that weren't their hits, like their
Yeah.
known
Well, they
ones.
only have like three. So, I mean, it's like Drive, Pardon Me, and the
Animali
third one.
Warning.
Yeah.
Megalomaniac. Like they could have made a whole set out of it. And I get that they put out new albums and that they want to play the new stuff, but
Yeah.
Incubus, their new stuff isn't good enough to be like on radio as far as I'm concerned. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. No, I completely agree. So it wasn't so and so between Coheed and Cambria, I thought Coheed and Cambria put on a really good show. I think the audience was completely into it, and it felt very it was well done.
yeah.
So clearly, Coheed and Cambria on stage, they drew a huge crowd because if it was set up where Coheed and Cambria was the openers to Incubus, then Coheed and Cambria drew the crowd, and people stuck around for Incubus.
Right.
That's essentially what it felt like.
Hmm.
Um, the critique that I have for the show is purely the fact that the Township Auditorium is, and nothing against the auditorium, but it is a really crappy place to have a band play.
It is.
Uh,
It so is.
it's not set up acoustically for music, especially music I mean, it's just not set up correctly. It's that you don't have the acoustics in the township to be able to have a band come in and play as loud as they do.
Mm.
And then I don't understand why a $4 beer was $12.
Oh my god, yeah, that was ridiculous. $30 on beers.
Yeah, t-shirts are for the bands. Now I don't know what the t-shirts were between Incubus and you're wearing your Incubus one, but
Coheed.
but Coheed, I mean, but what is that? What was that? 45 $,
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah.
Um,
And I, Barrett,
have to-
I didn't bring enough. I was like, "Do you have $40?" I didn't bring enough cash. Like I wanted an Incubus shirt because I do like Incubus. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to go see them again, clearly, but I'm at least going to get a shirt.
Yeah. Well, I was because I went over and was looking at the shirts and I was like $45 for a shirt, and it's a shirt that I'm not, we played softball together. I've played softball and kickball and bowling and the number of t-shirts that I have that are now stacked in my closet,
Yeah,
like they're stacked up. There have been suggestions for us to like turn it into a quilt that I have so many of these t-shirts.
Yeah, ever play all over the place.
Yeah,
Ever play
and like
quilt.
I go to Cake concerts or Ben Folds, or I go to Bare Naked Ladies concerts because that's technically my genre of music. But like I go to those and I don't even buy shirts from like I went to a Blues Travelers concert and I was like I went and looked at the t-shirts. They were $55 and $70, and it's like
God
I don't think I
damn,
can
yo.
justify. Yeah, I can't justify buying a t-shirt for
It's
$70.
like a 200% markup.
More than that, those shirts probably cost what? How many colors are on that's a screen print shirt. How many colors would you say are on that screen print shirt? You actually have, so you have a mix of shirts. So you're probably looking at
red, yellow, orange.
yeah, you're looking at like a $20-$25 shirt as far, because the color, they're screen printing those. They have to do a color blend on them. So those
Oh, and I get the
aren't
big thing is that's
cheap
how
to
the bands make their money is by
yeah,
the merchandise. So
yeah,
I'll
absolutely.
always support Coheed.
But yeah, it's not that I don't want to support the bands. It's just that I don't want to own another t-shirt.
Yeah.
Most of my t-shirts are Braves t-shirts, but I think Trent said that he got a drink and a hot dog and some popcorn, and he outspent himself.
Yeah.
So it just, I don't know. Along with my social anxiety, it's one of those things where I'm like, is this worth it? And Coheed was good. Incubus was disappointing
Yeah.
because again, I don't know that I put that necessarily on Incubus itself, but I recognize that, man, the township is just a terrible place for concerts.
Dude, the Senate would have worked out better, in my opinion, for that.
Do it outside.
Columbia needs a good amphitheater for like.
Yeah,
that would be awesome.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah,
I think. I mean, yeah, the Fireflies were playing baseball this week in Columbia, but as far as I know, the old Bomber Stadium is still standing.
Mm-hmm.
You could have had it in Lexington. You could have used Lexington's got a great amphitheater.
That ice house is too small, though. I think
it is too small. You would not have been able to sell. I mean, it would have sold out, but you would have had to mark the price of the tickets up because it's so much smaller.
Yeah, I was thinking
Uh,
too. Like, I guess really, if you built one like the size of the Verizon Wireless Amphitheater in Charlotte,
oh yeah,
like I don't know that I went to another one in Charlotte, and I can't remember what it was called. I think it's the PNC Amphitheater
yeah,
in
yeah.
Charlotte. I think one that size would work out really well in Columbia, with especially with the grass part to sit on. Maybe.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, totally agree. And ultimately I think that there's probably plenty of land. You could put it somewhere
the
along the
river.
river.
Oh my gosh, yeah,
I think that'd be amazing.
it'd be really cool. I think you
It's
could do, especially all that land that South Carolina owns. They could sell off a part or
oh
make some
yeah.
kind of concession of ticket revenue or something. I don't know. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Man, I tell you though, the University of South Carolina, once they get a hold of land, whether it's donated to them or whether they purchase it for,
Yeah,
that man, they do not give it up. And the first thing they do is they just build dorms on it. Like South Carolina's, like the main way they make money isn't tuition. The main way they make money now is got to be through student housing, because
yeah, they got a lot now.
quite literally everywhere.
Yeah, and then now they have all. I mean, they've been had all that land, and now they're making. They're taking, what do they call it? Oh, gosh, I can't remember the word, but they're having people come in to go to like bid on building things for them.
Oh yeah,
So like
yeah,
one
yeah.
of the talks is maybe a golf course. I don't think that one's gonna
Oh my
happen.
gosh.
But then kind of like Gamecock Village type deal going on, where you have like
Yeah.
all these things to do during sporting events and stuff.
Oh yeah.
I'm interested to see where that goes, but an amphitheater would be good right there because a lot of it's right along the river. Like,
Yeah. I think it'd be fantastic. I think an amphitheater over there, maybe, like there's I don't know. You could do something. You could do something.
right,
And an amphitheater, I think, naturally you build it in a way that it creates that necessary acoustics for a I mean, I saw Smashing Pumpkins at up in Charlotte at the amphitheater there. It was great.
yeah,
I mean, the sound was great. It was just it was a really good show, and it was a quality show.
that would be an awesome band to see play as the Smashing Pumpkins. I
They
saw
were really good.
I saw
It was
Coheed
really
at the
good.
PNC Pavilion last year.
Hmm.
Right, almost a year ago next month. Yeah, you will be a year ago next month. Saw them at the PNC with Alkaline Trio. That was a band that, oh, dude, they kicked ass. I had never seen them live, and I was like, holy shit, made me fall in love again with Alkaline Trio.
Yeah.
That's a good question. What would you name like your top concert you've ever been to?
Well, this is going to age me, but I mentioned it at the show, but I think, well, I don't know. Okay, so I would say that one of 1996, I saw REM when they still had Mike Mills,
Hmm.
and because that was because 2000 was when Mike Mills left REM, so it was Mike Stipe, Mike Mills left.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, REM at the Omni in Atlanta was probably the best concert I've ever been to, and I've seen Ben Folds multiple times. Bare Naked Ladies puts on a really good concert. Blues Traveler, man, John Popper, they put on an unbelievable show. I've seen Aerosmith, Smashing Pumpkins, Black Crows. I saw several times before they broke up and got back together, and then broke up and then got back together. And
I was
I
supposed
think
to see them 2020, but COVID
yeah,
came through and took it down. I was like,
yeah,
ah,
yeah.
why?
Yeah, and then they postponed it, and I had a ticket to it, but I wound up not going just because it was I don't know. Oh no, I know
They
why, because I
refunded our
left.
tickets.
Yeah, well, they refunded it, but we got new ones. We got ones for the rescheduled show, but I wound up not going because I left my job and I disconnected from the person I was going to go to the concert with. So I was
Fair
like,
enough.
I'm good. I'm not going to go.
I've seen uh I've seen Paramore, Under Oath, Coheed, like I said, 8 times.
Yeah,
Uh I've seen about a Mayday Parade. I've seen so many bands. Susto, of
Prince
course.
was amazing. I saw Prince.
Aerosmith.
Prince was fantastic.
Cheap Trick was fantastic. Awesome
Oh yeah,
concert.
Cheap Trick's always a great show. I've
Yeah.
seen Cheap Trick. I told you I saw Night Ranger,
Night
Night
Ranger, yeah.
Ranger, and Lover Boy. Lover Boy.
Yeah.
Those were two really really good shows. I've seen Guns N' Roses. I've seen oh gosh, I've been to a lot of concerts, and of
Yeah, me
course
too.
working in my time in radio, like country bands, like country. I've seen Garth Brooks, I've seen Leanne Rhymes, I've seen George Strait, Tim McGraw, Faith Hill. Um, I'm trying to think who Toby Keith does a really good The
Mhm.
Ranch. Okay, so everybody knows who Keith Urban is, right?
Yep.
Unbelievably good guitar player.
Oh
He's got a
yeah.
great voice. He's married to
Nicole Kidman.
Nicole Kidman. Um, but a lot of people don't go back to his first actual signed country band, which was called The Ranch. Dude, they were fantastic. If you get a chance to check them out, The Ranch was easily like their one single album they came out with was so good. And
Mhm.
like I wish I could have played more of their music off of that album on the radio, but I think like Walking in the Country was the only song that really made it as a single. Um
Keith Urban, he has a song called "A Song for Dad," and when I hear that, I'm like, nope, gotta turn it off. Gotta turn it off. I think the coolest concert experience I ever had was the 2007 Warp Tour. Uh,
Oh yeah.
I was at the
Yeah, I mean,
I was on the front barricade for that and watched with Chiodos playing, and it's
yeah.
they were a hardcore band that's not around anymore, but I semi knew the lead singer through playing Xbox with the lead guitar player, and so he comes down off the stage and puts his hand on my shoulder and he's like, pick me up. And so I picked up his knee and he put his knee on my shoulder and I held his leg, and he someone else was holding his other knee and he sang like this. And I have a picture of it where it's me looking up while he's holding the microphone and he's just like screaming, singing the song while on my shoulders. It was
That's
freaking,
pretty
it was
cool.
nuts. It was nuts. I loved that. That's the
I
only time
think
I've ever had backstage passes. Well,
oh,
first
okay.
time I've
Yeah.
ever had it.
Okay, so I would say that one of the coolest experiences was I got the VIP package for a Ben Folds show up in Greenville at the Peace Center.
Mhm.
Which, by the way, Ben Folds, if it's just him and the piano or him and the orchestra, you can pretty much have them play anywhere because I mean, even at the Township,
For sure.
a full piece orchestra with Ben Folds playing piano is probably going to sound okay. It's not going to be super loud, but like I did the VIP experience, which meant I got to go in early. I got to watch sound check and then a little question answer session with Ben Folds. And then we all got to go up on stage and take pictures with him at the piano. Now, I'm looking at the picture now and I'm easily 60 pounds heavier in that picture. So I'm disappointed I don't have a better picture of that one
Yeah,
because I'd
yeah,
like to take it better now. But it was a really, really cool experience. And Ben Folds always puts on a great show.
yeah. Benfold's been doing it long enough that when you go there, you expect a
Oh,
good
yeah.
show. Like
Yeah.
with Coheed, when they're headlining, when they're doing their own tours and stuff, they go all out with like. When we went to the amphitheater last year, they had like a big. I think it was inflatable. I don't know how they build these things, but one of the creatures from the albums was over the whole band,
Oh,
like over
okay.
the entire stage with laser lights and stuff like that.
Was that the stuff that Trent was referring to as like the demonic stuff that he thought he was seeing?
So like they had those panels that showed like
Yeah.
videos or whatever, and for 10 they had a song called 10 Speed of God's Blood and Burial, which is about a demon possessed bicycle, which is hilarious. uh but yeah, that's what Trent was talking about. He's like, the devil, it's the devil. Like, Trent, easy, easy, it's not the devil.
I don't know why he's concerned.
Yeah, they're not gonna get you. We're gonna
It
take
was
you backstage.
yeah, it was a really good show, and I'm glad we went and everything. I will say that again, it's if it seemed like to you or Gabrielle or Trent that I wasn't having a good time, I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I had to pull myself back into the corner of the room, and
completely.
you know
I get it. And
it's
I just found the pictures. So I've met two of the Coheed members.
yeah,
The lead guitar player, which you have a
okay,
picture of, you took a
yep.
picture of. I have a picture of me and him in '07 with him with long hair, and then I have two pictures of me and Josh, one with me and my brother and Josh, and then one with just me and Josh. I was the drummer. I was trying to find the picture that I was just telling you I took, and this is so long ago that it was originally on MySpace. Oh, I found it. I did find it. I can't screen share on here, can I?
No, but that's all right. If people should go check out our Instagram. It's Instagram is at AAN_pod, because we posted some of those pictures on there, and I'll get Zach to post his pictures on there. Trent should post his too, because he took some. Yeah, it was, like I said, it was a good show, but that's why we didn't record on Wednesday. We didn't record in the studio. We were out. And ultimately that's why on a Saturday afternoon in the rain, we're recording now. So, because we don't want y'all to miss content. I mean, ultimately we're here to please everybody. And if we want to continue to gain members, then we have to, we have to put stuff out.
Yeah, we had to, talk to the people.
That's right. So that's basically our recap. When we get back in the studio, I'm sure Trent will give his recap and of the show, because this was his first rock and roll show,
Yeah.
and ultimately, I think that he enjoyed it a whole lot.
Yeah,
he seemed to have a really, really good time.
Oh yeah, it was funny. Trent being completely out of his element when it came to what kind of music was gonna be there, and he didn't. He knew he got the cadence of an Incubus song, but he kept just walking around like I'm their biggest fan. I've been waiting to see this band forever. Like blah blah blah.
Yeah,
that was so.
It was
funny.
pretty funny.
Yeah.
Although we went to softball then Thursday night afterwards, and we were talking about the concert, and Jonathan Benson, who is the GOT's I guess house photographer.
Yeah, something. Yeah.
He was really disappointed that he didn't get to go to the Incubus concert, because Incubus is one of his favorite rock bands.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, too
so
bad.
he was like, I wish I had known, I'd have gone, whatever, but yeah, it was a good show, and I'm glad we went, and that was fun. So
yeah, anytime Coheed comes to Columbia, you will find me there. That's because that's the second time ever that they've been in Columbia. So anytime they come, I will be
there. It
there.
is.
Well, and I guess the last thing too is we're supposed to be going to a baseball game tonight, and we're playing the waiting game.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. I was texting with John Cosas Jr. of the Columbia Fireflies earlier, and he's preparing to do a game tonight. But yeah, he's of the mindset that tonight's game's probably going to get rained out, and they probably will push it into a doubleheader probably tomorrow.
Well, do they refund tickets? How do you do this?
Well, yeah, what they'll do is, Fireflies will handle that. You can call the ticket office and move it probably any game that you'd want to. If not tomorrow, then that's how I'd handle it. I can give you the name of a guy. I know a guy.
You know a guy?
I know a guy.
Barrett
I know a guy.
I know a guy. I'm bummed because I really want one of the chicharron hats or whatever they're calling themselves right now. The pig.
Yeah. Well, they sell them in the Mason jar shop all the time, so you can get those anytime. Yeah. The only thing I think right now, the only thing you could get was they had a special T-shirt they were only selling online.
Mm-hmm.
I think those sold out on Friday.
It makes me want some chorizo or something.
Man, some street tacos or some Mexican street corn. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's what that was. So before we take a break, one of the things that they did several years ago was Mexican street corn, where basically it was street corn that was grilled, and it was a corn on the cob that was grilled, and then they put a bunch of spices and whatnot, like a mayonnaise sauce on it. That was it was really, really good.
Man, yeah, so I'm missing out. And I've been working to get to a game with my mom, and this was going to be the one. And then she understands. We're just sitting there talking. I was like, these sons of bitches. Fate just doesn't want us to see a baseball game. It's rained for like the last 5 weekends.
Yeah, it has. Last weekend we had 2 inches of rain. This weekend we're probably going to see another 2 inches of rain. I'm checking my rain gauge right now, and yeah, I can't read it from here.
It's just,
I have my contacts in. I just can't read it.
It's going to be a rainy week, 3-day weekend of playing PS5 and sitting in the garage, just pedaling off.
Smoking. Whatever.
Yeah, smoking. Yeah.
Well, I hate to disappoint people, but we don't have a reading nothing corner this week because, one, I don't have the audio. 2, I don't have anything picked out, so it's just not available. So we'll do that when we're in the studio again on Wednesday.
I had my book around here, but of course we just mentioned it. Now I can't. We'll do it next time.
Of course. All right. So we'll take a break. We'll come back here in just a second. We got the John Cosas update for the Fireflies coming up here. So make sure to check that out because a lot of details on stuff the Fireflies are doing and whatnot. So this is the All About Nothing podcast. Zach King, Barrett Gruber. We'll be right back.
Hi, this This is Shiana, host of Who You Callin' Holistic, and you're listening to the All About Nothing podcast.
All right, welcome back to the All About Nothing podcast. Barrett Gruber, Zac King. We're both recording from home this week because it's raining and Zac melts. So, first half of the episode, we talked all about our experience with Coheed and Cambria and the Incubus concert, which again was fun. We did have a good time. It was enjoyable, and I certainly hope all the success for Coheed and Cambria and retirement for Incubus at some point, because I feel like that's probably appropriate.
Yeah.
Cool. In fact, I don't even know how old those guys are, but they were singing. The Incubus was singing when I was in high school. So they've got to be 10 years older than me, which puts them only in their 50s maybe. But like, I don't know. It just seeing, and I don't know the lead singer's name, but seeing him up on stage, and then he took his shirt off, which I get, it was warm in there, but like, no, please. No, thank you. Maybe?
It's Brandon Boyd. I'm going to tell you how old he is. He's 47.
No, shut up. Yeah. He's 47.
Yeah.
He's only 3 years older than me.
Yeah.
I
have to see.
I'm
going to guess
no words.
Claudio is 42 or something at the most.
Well, he doesn't look terribly old.
No.
I mean, you know.
Oh,
yeah,
he's a year older than you. He's 45.
Oh, he doesn't look bad. He doesn't look like he's 45.
No.
Whatever 45 looks like. This is what 44 looks like.
Josh is 1 year younger than you. He's 43.
Oh, okay. All right. That's not terrible.
T-Rav 44. They're all your age. The lead guitar players your age.
That generation, my generation. Got it. Okay.
I've been a fan for 20 years, man. I should have known this.
Moving on. So this week, South Carolina, we did the Senate did pass the 6-week abortion ban that the House had handed over. So that was signed into law after the House had to adjust the bill from previously failed attempts in the state Senate. That it was then returned to the House. So basically, just a synopsis. Earlier this year, the House passed a near complete ban on abortion, claiming that conception was enough to stop abortions. That made it to the Senate, where after several filibusters and a handful of women, both on the Democratic Republican side, they managed to get enough votes to fail the bill and then send it back to the House. Well, the men of the House said, fine, we'll go back to the 6-week abortion, which is what the Senate actually passed earlier this year or last year. I can't remember exactly, but basically the Senate did vote in favor of the 6-week abortion ban, but there were some changes to it. The Senate then sent it back to the House. The House then made adjustments to it, which they said, well, now we think 6 weeks is too much. We think that it should just be an abortion ban completely on anything from conception on. Mm-hmm. All right, fine, whatever. So from there, this bill that was voted by the Senate will go on to the desk of Governor McMasterbator, where, of course, he gleefully signed it into law, and somehow
protect the baby.
I mean, how else is Foghorn Leghorn going to get his kicks at 103 years old? That's right. Good old-fashioned hate signature against women is essentially what he gave.
Well, can I take away some reproductive rights? All right.
Yeah, exactly. So for now, though, thanks to a circuit court judge, Clifton Newman, the new law, which has been signed into law by Governor McMasterbator, will be held. It's not going to go into effect because for now, abortions in South Carolina are still legal up to around 20-week mark and will stay that way until the Supreme Court for South Carolina makes a decision or takes some other action allowing the implementation of the law. South Carolina State Attorney General, and the worst possible outcome of what an abortion ban can turn into, Alan Wilson, is considering all options as a response to Judge Newman's ruling, and said that he is prepared to defend the right to life in court. That's babies, not babies, sorry, unborn fetuses. That's what he's defending because, of course, once you're a child, he doesn't care.
Yeah.
But he has had to do this before when he defended it in the Supreme Court previously, where the Supreme Court then still said the 6-week ban is wrong. And I think the ruling by the Supreme Court of South Carolina on the 6-week ban previously was because of privacy situations. So Getting an abortion is a medical experience, obviously. And because that falls under HIPAA, the state of South Carolina Supreme Court was able to rule that, and I may be getting this completely wrong, but this is just based on my reading. The state of South Carolina Supreme Court was able to rule on that and say that you could not ban abortions because of the privacy of the individual. That you couldn't turn that into a legal issue against where the state's prosecuting somebody because of the privacy around healthcare,
Right.
essentially.
Yeah.
So the new law does include some exceptions to save the patient's life and for fatal fetal anomalies, as well as limiting exceptions to up to 12 weeks for victims of rape and incest, which in South Carolina, I get that nobody wants to admit there's a lot of rape and incest going on, but it's South Carolina. You live in the South. I have to assume that's probably going on. And it limits exceptions for up to 12 weeks for victims of rape and incest, with doctors reporting requirements to local law enforcement, which falls under privacy.
Yeah, that's illegal.
It also contains an amendment added by the House that would require a biological father to pay child support from the point of conception, which seems kind of weird. I'm all in favor of it, but I guess I still question some of. First, I question the whole thing, honestly, but I question the parts of it that feel the most vindictive to women, because it feels like it's mostly a situation still where there are men out there that don't want women to have the ability to make decisions for themselves.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. I mean, it boils down to, as well, even if you take away it being taking away choices for women, it's them not understanding the facts as to what a human life is and at
Yeah,
what point it becomes a human life.
yeah.
You,
I mean, they're making. Go ahead.
you're just, it's like boils down to you're taking away an eventual taxpayer or something is what it seems like. Like it's they're thinking that they're saving babies and they're not. You're preventing a human from being made. That's
Right.
completely different. You're stopping the formation of cells. Like,
Yeah.
it's so insane. And it could just be, a lot of it controlling women. But then you go, where does all this come from? Why would that be the case? And you think maybe it's because some religious beliefs and stuff like that.
I mean, I understand. I understand where people are coming from when it comes to the religious aspect of it, because I've heard it all over. So basically, people look at an abortion as being murder, but I don't know. So when I think of abortion, I think of the medical procedure of what actually is going on. And this kind of lines up with I recognize that there are people out there that are using abortion as a form of contraceptive,
Right.
that they allow that they have a relationship, or they have an evening or whatever with someone, and then they get pregnant. But I think in that situation, it is the woman's decision as to whether or not she decides that she wants to have a baby. Because let's say a hypothetical situation, which I'm sure occurs all the time, is you go out drinking, you meet somebody, and then you go to bed with them,
Mm-hmm.
and then that turns into she's pregnant, and she tells you that you're the father, and then that creates now, because the potential of it is she's not going to know she's pregnant until 6 weeks later. I mean, after 6 weeks, potentially 10 to 12 weeks. But now in South Carolina, once this law, if it goes into effect, when it does, she's now locked into having this child and carrying this child through the entire length of the pregnancy, and then for the next 18 to 20 years having a child that was born outside of a relationship, and the state of South Carolina and the United States isn't going to do anything or very little to help that woman financially. Or, I mean, South Carolina, we already have we're depleted in gynecologist oncologists because it's becoming a hellscape.
Yeah, then
I mean,
they'll call you a freeloader and a mooch and all this stuff. Like,
yeah,
because I couldn't afford to have a baby, I was willing to do something about it before it became a human being. You stopped
yeah,
me. Now I have it, and you won't help me. And
yeah.
the state, the government made someone have a child and will not help.
I know I've said this before, and there are people that probably think that it's a little conspiratorial, but I still absolutely believe that this isn't necessarily just to, I guess, prevent the abortions, but it's designed also to prevent the possibility that someone not having a child could move their way out of the lower class, middle class sect that we have, and and keep them locked in to being part of the poor.
Hmm.
Um, because essentially, one of the most devastating things to someone financially that can't afford it is having a child. And that child will then, I'm not saying that a child is a burden, but it will be a burden financially for someone trying to start their life as an adult, because it just doesn't make sense. If someone wants to have a child, they'll have a child.
Well, there's a
Uh
whole reason it's called Planned Parenthood, where you would go do that because you have to plan to have a child. If you're
yeah,
not planning, it can absolutely be a burden. The one that will completely change the direction of your life if you didn't plan for having a kid. And
right.
when you were willing to do something about it, and the government took it away, took away an option to keep your life on your terms.
And what's crazy is, like, so in situations where someone's convicted of rape or mass rape, like they are a serial rapist. Um, I remember years and years ago that there was a potential of a stipulation being added to the prosecution of someone that's convicted of sexual assault or rape, that they could potentially be subjected to a vasectomy. And I feel like, and I don't know if it's true, I'd have to look it up, and maybe for the next episode, but I feel like that was shot down because there was a desire not to, I guess, have that sort of effect on a man that did that to a woman, whether they were a teenager or based on whatever. But, like, I feel like that there was some sort of stipulation where there was the potential of there being a vasectomy on an individual, so that they couldn't impregnate somebody. I mean, they're going to serve time in jail, of course, but you know, but it seems like all of the cards are stacked against women in this situation, and the decisions are being made by really old men who probably can't get women pregnant anymore.
Right.
um, and then supported by the men that shouldn't be allowed to be around women. Most of the Republicans in the House here in South Carolina, at least. I don't know. I'm still. This is a situation where, 5 years ago, even when Trump was president, I didn't really think that this was ever going to happen. I thought that Roe versus Wade was going to hold us intact, and that this was not going to be a situation that could come up. But Roe versus Wade gets flipped last summer, and here we are.
Yep.
I mean, if you look at a map of the states that have outlawed or banned abortions, they're pretty much in our neighborhood. I mean, it's, North Carolina, North Carolina, not really. North Carolina still has a more time available for abortion, but Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, Texas, Florida, I don't, it's,
Yeah. They keep
it
using that
just,
human life is sacred. Put that in
right.
more context.
Yeah,
Say
please.
it. Like,
Like,
it's sacred to you and your beliefs, but scientifically you're not going to hear the rest of it. It just fucking blows my mind. And you're right. None of us, I mean, certain people saw this coming, but it's also kind of a stab in the dark where they kind of speak hyperbolically about things.
yeah.
When you would hear someone say that, you'd be like, I don't see that happening. It's kind of law.
Yeah.
It's law,
Oh,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah. No, I mean, and that's something that, you know, when I raised concern about it, and I don't know, power to Ruth Bader Ginsburg, because,
Hmm.
may she rest in peace. But, like, she should have retired when Obama was still president.
Yeah.
Because then there would have been at least one other liberal judge on the bench, or there may not have been. I mean, it's entirely possible there may not have been, because the Senate was controlled by Mitch McConnell, and he wouldn't allow the Senate to vote on a nominee.
And then a religious zealot got put in, like a hands-made tale type of religious zealot. Well, what's her name? I can't even remember her name.
Amy Coney Barrett.
Yeah,
well, Amy Coney Barrett replaced Ruth Bader Ginsburg. We had the other guy. What's his name? Kavanaugh.
Yeah,
Kavanaugh.
Yeah, him and Ski and Booth and
and Merrick Garland was it Merrick Garland? No, I may be thinking.
Merrick Garland is the
Attorney General.
Attorney General, yeah.
The other guy. So Merrick Garland was Obama's nominee, and then when Trump came in, one of the first things he did was made sure that that somebody else, a Republican or a conservative leaning judge, was the one who came in.
Yeah, and when something, I think because they write dissents, like whenever they don't agree, and like the dissents, and I cannot remember that guy's name. It's just like unhinged ramblings, like, and you're like, you're a Supreme Court justice, and it's just insanity. God, what is his damn name?
I'm looking it up.
It's not. Yeah, it's not Scar.
Neil Gorsuch.
It's
Neil Gorsuch.
Yeah. He wrote a dissent, and I can't remember what it was on. And I was just like, "Holy shit!" Like,
I don't know. It's just so disappointing that the beliefs of a very small sect of our country, because evangelical, like extremist evangelicals, are not that prominent here in the United States, but they have so much money and so much power, being a minority of people, that it just dumbfound. I mean, the number. So I think I saw a statistic that said the number of non-believing religious individuals in the United States continues to grow year after year, and the number of evangelicals in the United States continues to decline year after year, because you can only sit up there on the pulpit so many times and say that Jesus is coming tomorrow and not show up, and then people begin to their faith in it starts to falter.
Yeah, the nuns have begun to rise. The NONES, the nuns.
Yeah, and it's just and ultimately I think that societies that are trapped under the thumb of the potential of the existence of some all-being power, when that declines, I think society does better.
And that's the whole thing. It's you get to believe what you believe, and so does everybody else. But you cannot go tell everybody what to believe, and that's what they're doing through the government.
That's essentially what's happening. It is government. It is government allowed, mandated in some cases, especially through abortion, this very strict rule on morals. And while I think that the idea of Jesus Christ and is great idea, I think that it's a terrific idea, and a good part of me really wants Jesus to have existed and to have done all the things that the Bible says that he did. But the people that are running around saying that they are followers in Jesus Christ aren't doing the things that he said to do. Well, they're not,
and that all becomes a no true Scotsman fallacy, because they're not real Christians. But what I believe, oh God.
Well, but see, that's the craziest part about it, is judge not, yes, lest you be judged. And for the life of me, I will hear things said by people that are clearly judgmental about someone else, and it's like, yeah, but I know your history. And so
calling the kettle black.
Yeah, why come in so strong against something or someone when you've done this or that or whatever? It is so perplexing to me how people can be so blind to their own false or fallacies or their own lifestyles. I mean, I an example in my head right now, and I don't I don't have anything against this individual, but I know the lifestyle she leads, but I know the lifestyle she says she leads.
Mhm.
And it is not, you know, but she judges everyone else for some of the things that they do, but just completely blind to the things that she does.
Right. There's a lot of people like that. Even you and I at times can be guilty of it, but recognizing those kind of things is
Yeah.
and don't preach. People who preach about it, like don't talk, build yourself up and then climb over somebody else for their failings, like you're talking
Yeah.
about. It's like live and let live. It's called compassion and understanding that people are going to
Empathy.
fall. Like it's fine, but then you reserve your judgment because you're never walking in other people's shoes like that.
I absolutely recognize that I am completely imperfect.
Mhm.
I am a mud person.
Yeah,
I mean, it's what it is. But at least I don't live in a style or a lifestyle that harms anyone else.
right.
I don't go around trying to change anyone, because I know people are going to argue this, but people don't change. It's
Yeah.
not a thing. People are incapable of change without some sort of like catalyst.
Oh yeah, it has to be a very big push to get someone to change their
Yeah.
mind, and that's the only way it's going to happen is being open and honest and to see things for what they are, and not attach something else to it. Like open up and accept things as they are, and don't just put on blinders to it. I think is a big part of opening your mind
Yeah.
and changing things, because when you believe a certain, it's like what's that whole thing when you go say you're trying to research something or you already know the conclusion you want to come up with.
Oh yeah.
You're not there to truly find something out if you're wanting to come up with what you hope it's going to be.
Right.
You have to
You're
approach
just trying to prove your point.
proving your point before
Yeah.
taking whatever the real result is.
Yeah. And that's not study. That's not science. That's not
No.
that's vindictive.
Yeah, I want to be comfortable. Let me find a result that makes me more comfortable.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
the
Let me
reality is not
justify.
comfortable. Truth is not comfortable. Those things are very uncomfortable. But when you accept them, you have a better worldview about things. You have a better understanding of how things are true.
Yeah. Yeah. Completely agree. It's just weird. I don't understand. I have a really hard time understanding exactly why it is that people can't just,
Yeah. Test your worldview, folks. If you're scared to do that, then you already know it won't hold up. That is
Yeah.
a fact. If you're afraid to test the way you think, the way you see the world, then you already know it's not going to hold up.
Yep. Totally agree. All right. Well, in respect to not being too judgmental about things, I want to tell you about the last article. So I read this in the Business Insider. Apparently, there's a 50 Shades of Grey swingers cruise. Did you hear about this?
Already signed up. No,
You already signed up? Does Gabrielle know you signed up?
Yeah, she has to come with me. Duh.
Good news. They do take couples. Back in April, a 50 Shades of Grey swingers cruise floated from Miami to Jamaica. Now, this cruise was promoted as a sexually adventurous adventures for couples interested in swinging. They have clothing optional pools. Guests could play in specifically styled rooms, including spank rooms. All of this was set up through a travel agency called the Swinger Cruise. It's $4,000 a week. In the article, $4,000 a week. When you can take a cruise for like $600 a person for a week, like 7 nights, that's $600.
That's going to be the grossest cruise ever.
Careful, watch your judgment.
I know. I'm not judging people who swing. I'm talking about the cleanup. I feel bad for the people working the cruise who have to change sheets and shit like that.
That's true.
Oh.
That's true. Yeah. In that case, I think if I were a worker on a cruise, regardless of it being a swinger cruise, I think that I really need to know a second language so that I can speak under my breath in whatever language and nobody understand.
I'm very pro swinger, sex positive. Go swing away. I'm talking
for
about
them
cleaning jizz up and stuff like
for them. Oh yeah. Okay. So in the article under business on Business Insider's webpage, a couple interviewed using their first names, and here's the least appetizing part about it. Jay, an 80-year-old, and Clara, in her late 70s, have been on more than 10 of these swingers cruises, and if you're keeping track of the money, that's more than $80,000 on these cruises. More than 80,000.
Who? See, that was kind of my gross point too. It's going to be a bunch of old people.
Yeah. So the elderly couple says that it's their favorite thing and that they are full swap. That's quote full swap.
Yeah.
Yeah. The agency responsible for this says that they have cruises that sail out of Miami. They go to Jamaica and Bermuda, and it's apparently a big thing, and the cruises apparently are quite full.
That's awesome, but like I don't know if the 80-year-old couple's getting that much play. Like, well, for swap, yeah.
This is one of those articles that I wish we had Carrie on here for, because
Carrie's too busy on that cruise right now.
Oh, well,
with Pig Norman Somerton.
I don't want to put that on. I don't want to put that on Carrie. But I know she likes cruises, or she likes the idea of cruises, because
she's going on the Golden Showers cruise.
Yeah, the Golden.
Oh, was it the Golden Girls?
Golden Girls, yeah, the Golden Girls cruise, which again to me feels like it would just be like a black memorial cruise. Everybody's mourning the entire time, like, because they're all gone.
Yeah. Oh my god.
But yeah, that was I don't know. I'm glad that people have found something that they enjoy, but
it has to be that $4,000 because of like the people who work on the cruise line are like, if we have to clean this shit up, oh my god, every towel, burn them. We have to we have to bring brand new towels.
I'll include a link in the show notes on where people can find this in case you're one of our listeners that would enjoy a swingers cruise. But like, I gotta say, it's not for me. Can you put on your Trent hat and tell me what Trent thinks?
I'll do that.
All right. So Zach's transitioning into Trent.
I would do that.
Yeah, would you?
So speaking as Trent.
Yeah. So Zach as Trent. If let's say that worked out, and
I DJ
and Nikki, all right. You know what? I'm okay. You can go on that cruise and you can DJ it. But
nude DJ.
What is Nikki gonna think about you DJing on a swingers cruise?
She'll be there.
Okay. All right. Well, then there we go. So Trent's in favor of it. And ultimately, I'm glad we had this conversation, because if I just didn't ask, then we wouldn't know. We would just have to.
Oh, I put away the Ouija board. Trent's not here anymore. We do have to ask Trent if he would really go on the swingers cruise.
Yeah, I'll make sure to include that in our,
because you have to be a couple to go on the cruise, because then you're not swinging, you're just a horny alone person.
You're absolutely right.
It has to be two people.
Right. You would have to go as a couple. So
although I guess many pineapples on doors on that cruise.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I didn't know that was a thing. Yeah. I didn't realize that pineapple, is it upside down pineapple, or is it
upside down pineapple?
Upside down pineapple, a magnet on the door of your cabin is an indicator.
It could be anything, like a thing on the door hanging. Oh, is it? Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. No, I at no point in all of the cruises that I've been on did I ever notice anything on people's doors that was upside down. I
was 17 the last time I went on a cruise, so I would love to go on one. They're just expensive.
Yeah, well, like I said, you can. It won't be much longer, but you can take a Carnival cruise out of Charleston right now. It's like $600 for per person for a week, and food's all included. You got to buy alcohol, but you can sneak the alcohol on.
Yeah.
You just put it in your shower, your shampoo bottle. You're good to go.
I don't know if I'm quite ready to be away from my child for a week. I miss her when it's like a day. Oh no, then it's not going to be too much fun.
Well, no, they have activities for kids. I mean, if you wait a couple years and she's 4, I mean, there's activities on cruises that the kids can go and do that you can leave your kids with.
That literally
It
terrifies
sounds
me.
unsafe.
Yeah.
I know. Trust me, I have that anxiety too.
Yeah.
And my kids are 8,
Yeah.
so it's a big ask to give up that.
I don't
that
know if I can.
responsibility.
It's like when they get to like when they're Eden's age 2.5, you're like, I don't trust other people with them.
Yeah.
And then when they get older, you're like, I don't trust them around other people.
Yeah. You never know what they're gonna say. You don't know what they're gonna do.
Yeah. Where they're gonna
This is
go.
a representation. Yeah. When your children are a representation of you, and people know you and them are related, and then, it's when you have a kid that beats up other kids on the playground, you know, the parents come to you and they're like, what's wrong with your kid? And I don't know.
We were on a cruise, and 20 minutes into being on the cruise, my brother got lost. We couldn't find him for like
It's easy
10
to do.
minutes. Yeah.
I had a
He
I had
literally
an ex-wife
came up
that
in the
happened to.
elevator with 2 cruise line workers and was bawling his eyes out. I was like, there he is. My brother almost died in Belize while we were on a cruise.
Good gosh.
We were going down the river on tubes, and he got stuck on a hook, and it was a pretty strong current, like a stick or whatever, and the water just rushed over his head and was just like where he couldn't breathe.
Man.
Yeah, he almost drowned. He was drowning, and we got him out, and he had like a migraine from it and all of that. We were freaking out. We're like, Jesus Christ, can't take this kid anywhere.
That wasn't that ATM river, was it? In the
I didn't see Carrie out there, no.
No.
Where are they
yeah.
going? ATM. ATM.
They're just riding the Jeep, drinking along the way. All right. Well, this was. I'm glad that we were able to get together and at least record something for the people, because ultimately that's the only way that we stay relevant.
Yeah.
Is they have to hear from us.
Yeah.
And if we could make it where you heard from us more often, we would do it.
Yeah. So go to Patreon or go to our website, click on the link.
Yeah, go to our website.
So
click
we
the
can
link
do
there.
this for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Oh yeah. No, we could definitely do like a membership drive where we I could see us doing like a 24-hour like live stream of a recording.
Oh yeah.
Man, that'd be tough. We'd have to take individual breaks, but
We'd have to have
24 hours.
a myriad of guests come along.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be up for that one Saturday night.
John, can you host for 2 hours?
Yeah, that's what we'd have to do, is we'd have to find somebody to host it for us.
Yeah.
And then give out a phone number or whatever that they have people answering the phone. All right, everybody. Thank you very much for listening. We appreciate all the support. Links to all of our past episodes, podcast platforms, and social media are available on our webpage, theallaboutnothing.com. You can support the show by following our social media and maybe go a little further and joining our growing list of members. Head over to theallaboutnothing.com to find a link to our membership page. And while you're visiting our page, you can also join our Discord and join the conversation. Find the link on our webpage, theallaboutnothing.com. Thank you very much for listening. You all stay safe, and
Have a week.
the All About Nothing podcast is produced and engineered by me, Barrett Gruber. Thanks to Cake for our intro music, Sick of You. You can follow everything Cake the band at cakemusic.com. Thanks to Muff the producer for our outro music. You can follow Muff on Instagram at Muff the producer. Thanks to Trent Clark, aka DJ Lonzo. Join him weekly at the venue in Columbia, South Carolina for the Saturday All-Star Drag Brunch and Sundays at the Review Drag Brunch. You can also contact Trent for all your entertainment needs. Trent at theallaboutnothing.com and on Instagram, TheRealDJLonzo. You can also phone him, 803-262-7982. Thanks to Zac King. You can follow him on Instagram at KingZac07 and on Twitter at Carolina King21. I am Barrett Gruber. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Barrett Gruber, or visit my Linktree /Barrett Gruber. Want to support the show? Visit our page, theallaboutnothing.com, and become a member. There are several tiers available, including memberships that give you early access to episodes as well as exclusive content. Visit theallaboutnothing.com. To find links to our social media, merchandise, and past episodes, as well as other details, visit theallaboutnothing.com. If you'd like to be heard on the show, you can call and leave us a message. Dial 803-672-0533. If the time between these episodes is more than you can handle, check out our partner podcasts. Zach and I host What the Pod Was That with Carrie Simmons. Visit whatthepodwasthat.com for links and details. Ami takes a deep dive down the rabbit hole in episodes of Welcome to Wonderland. Available on all of your podcast platforms. As well, you should check out DJ Lonzo's Top 5. Available on all of the podcast listening platforms. Please subscribe and share the show. If you're on YouTube, please like and hit the notification bell. The All About Nothing podcast is a product of Barrett Gruber Entertainment and Media. Thank you for listening.